Okay, so with corrections for this, guys, again, you can reach out to me if you have more questions. What I'm going to talk about is that most of this test did have a formula. There were some questions that maybe you didn't need the formula for if you understood the concept, but I just wanted to point out only 2 questions on this test didn't have a formula that you could use. So if you don't have your formula sheet because you never can pick your packet, you need to be keeping a separate sheet to copy the formulas as I give them to you. If they're all scattered through your notes, it makes it really difficult when you're doing your test to try and find them. So these are all the questions that had formulas. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. Only 3 and 9 did not have formulas. So I'm going to talk through the formulas for these, but if you didn't miss any of these because you knew all these had formulas, then skip ahead in the video until you see me on this slide. But if you missed one of these questions, just kind of watch through again. You can skip ahead a little bit if it's one of the further questions, so you can see which formula to use. If you knew which formula to use and you still got it wrong, then your problem was either variables or you plugged in wrong to the calculator, and you can still do the correction. You can still say, well, I picked the right formula, but I must have plugged in wrong. Here's how it should have been. Yeah. So number 1, anytime with all of these questions, if there is a formula, we know by what they're asking us. The very last sentence, or whatever the what is, or what we're trying to find, that's our formula. So it says find the total cost for number 1. So looking to your formula sheet here. Hey, total cost. I'm going to copy this. Bring it over here. See if it'll work. That is the formula, total cost of the loan. Find the total cost. So this is what you should have done. The monthly payment times the number of months plus the down payment if applicable. And there is a down payment here. Sometimes they don't say down payment, but that is the down payment we're going to add. And then you need the monthly payment times the number of months. You got to be careful there. It's 4 years. You need to know how many months that was, right? It's a monthly payment. Again, with this question, total cost is all of the money that you've given them. You gave them the down payment plus all of those monthlies. So that's what you should have done for number 1. So if you need to fix number 1, look back to your question, try and fix it, and then we can come back and go on to number 2. So number 2, once again, what was the total finance charge? I can skip to the end because I know that's where my formula is going to be. So looking back, what was the total finance charge? Total finance charge. Again, guys, it's really that simple. It's just that if you don't know what formulas you have, you might read a question like this and go, it doesn't sound like it has a formula. It's not a super complicated question. There's not like interest rates or anything, which is why you need to practice these as you go so you know what formulas we have. So total cost of loan, number 1 and number 2 are connected. Total cost of loan is your answer from number 1. That is the original purchase price. Yeah. So you had to get number 1 right to get number 2 right. Be careful. I may have given you number 2, even if you got number 1 right. Sorry, wrong. If I can see that you did the correct thing. So remember to check the points. If it says 2 out of 2, even if it has you marked wrong, you don't need to correct it. Going on to number 3. Again, I can skip to the very last sentence. What was her monthly payment? A couple of you guys forget that working out the monthly payment for a loan is not simple. It's not just, oh, multiply these 3 things together and that's our answer. No. You need this huge formula here. This is the monthly payment formula. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. That's the formula you would have had to use for number 4. So if you did not know that, that's what you need to do. You need to write that formula down on your correction, get it plugged in. Probably if you missed it, I'm pretty sure most people knew that was the formula we needed. You just plugged it in wrong. So try it again, see if you can get the right answer. But that is the formula for number 4. Okay, number 5, what is the total cost? Now again, a lot of us understand the concept of total cost of a loan, so we don't need this formula, but this is still the same formula. However, there is no down payment. When it says if applicable, that means if the question goes, blah, 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 down payment. And they don't say down payment anywhere in number 4. If you read through it, it doesn't say anything about a down payment. So this is just total cost. The monthly payment, which is from number 4, that's the answer from number 4, times the number of months. Once again, this is a monthly payment. It's 5 years, but you need to know how many months that is. So again, if you need to fix that one, fix it, pause the video, and then come back and we'll go on. I keep accidentally clicking this and changing the color. Whatever. Number 6, total interest. Once again, this is total finance charge or total interest right there. Make sure you read the whole thing. And once more, we have a situation where the answer is being dropped down from the last question. So monthly payment drops down into the formula for total cost. Total cost drops down for this last formula for total interest. Because again, total interest is all the extra you have paid. So we can see what did you pay compared to what the loan was actually for. The difference between those two is the extra that you had to pay. So once more, if you needed to fix any of those, I'd recommend pause the video, fix them, and then we'll keep going. So number 7, guys, once again, this is another formula that there's no way around. What should be the length of her loan? This is loan length formula. Once again, a really ugly formula, but it's all we have to do is just this one formula. And again, if you missed this but knew that was the formula, pretty likely you just plugged it in wrong. Especially if you're using Desmos, guys. If you do not know where natural log is on Desmos, reach out to me. I showed it in the video when I taught this, but you may have just forgotten. LN is a button on the calculator. It's in Desmos. But if you don't know where to find it, let me know. I have showed it before, but I can point it out again. So all you had to do is plug into that formula. Boom, that was your answer. So if you need to fix number 7, try it on Desmos, find the natural log button. Let me know if you need help with that. Okay, number 8. Oh, I forgot that I didn't copy this. Let me see. 1 second here. I'm going to have to cut this part out. Okay, so for number 8, this actually did have a formula as well. New balance is actually here on your formula sheet near the bottom. New balance. So if you notice, it goes actually in the order that's listed, or pretty much at least. We have your previous balance minus your payments, plus, plus, plus. The only thing that gets subtracted is the payments, because again, this is a credit card. Payments decrease the amount of money you owe. This is not a checking account. We talked about how in a checking account, purchases would be considered negatives, but this is a credit card. So purchases are considered positive, as are all of these other things, because these 3 things increase how much money you owe. A payment decreases how much money you owe. So literally, that's all you had to do. Again, your numbers are going to be different. But there was a formula. If you forgot, that's what you had to do. So go ahead, fix that, come back, and then we'll look at the last 2 here. Yeah. Okay, number 10, once again, had a formula. It says, what would be the finance charge for that billing cycle? So you guys had to remember this is a different formula. This is not total finance charge. That's for a loan. This is for a credit card. So finance charge for billing cycle was near the bottom. Now the one thing, that's multiply. That's multiply there. The one thing that you had to remember with this formula though, because they give you the information you need. They give you the average daily balance. Again, your numbers are different. But they don't give the monthly rate. They give the annual rate. You had to take this annual rate and get it to a month before plugging it in here. How do we go from a year down to a month? If I have a yearly amount and I want to go down to a monthly amount, you should have divided it by 12. So you should have done your percentage rate divided by 12. Still getting it as a decimal. Technically, you still are also going to divide by 100 because it's a percentage, but we also got to divide by 12. And then that's what you should have multiplied by here with the average daily balance. So take a look at that. Let me know if you're a little confused. Because again, even though the formula is there, a lot of people miss that one because they didn't realize the annual versus the monthly, that they needed to change that before they could do the problem. So last question here is average daily balance. This is on the formula sheet. It's a whole process. So we're going to look back there. Average daily balance. Oops. Average daily balance. So a couple of you guys forgot this first step and skipped to step 2. Step 1 is to multiply the number of days by the amount owed and repeat for each amount. So you should have done 9 times whatever your amount was, 8 times, 4 times, 10 times, yeah? You should have done that first. And again, your amounts are going to be different. Then those 4 numbers that you get, then you add them. And then once you add them, this is what the other people forgot. So you got partial credit if I could tell. This is where you stopped. We're finding an average. When you do an average, you add everything together and then divide by how many numbers you added. Yes, I know we added 4 numbers here, but we technically added 31 days worth of numbers. 9 plus 8 plus 4 plus 10, that's 31 days. So you should have divided by 31 as your last step. So that may have been your mistake, is that you forgot to do that. If the answer you got is like somewhere in the 20,000 to 30,000 range, maybe more, you just forgot to divide by 31 probably. So again, all of those questions had formulas. I'm going to go over the last 2 that did not have formulas just so that you can see how to do them since there is no formula. These ones were just reasoning and vocab. So if you missed number 3, we'll talk through this here real quick. So this is Cal bought a 1344 custom game player. Again, your numbers are going to be different. He had to pay the purchase off in a year. The minimum monthly payment is $66. Here's where most people who miss this question, this is what they did. If he makes the minimum monthly payment up until the last payment. If you recall with this question, he has not made his last payment. He has a year, which is 12 months. However, he has not made that last month payment yet. So what he has paid so far is only this minimum, again, yours is different, times 11. He has not paid the 12th month yet. That was the point. He is going to have to pay the rest in the 12th month if he doesn't want to pay interest. Yeah. So this, whatever this comes out to be, is what he's paid so far. Left over, we have the $13.44 is what he was supposed to pay minus the answer you get from there. So again, check your points. I can tell if you multiplied by 12. So I gave you a point if that was the case, but it is going to be 11 because again, he has not made that last month's payment yet. So check that one and then bring it back if you need number 9. Okay, number 9 was just vocab, guys. Available credit. This question was so easy. All you had to do was subtract. Literally, that's it. The definition of available credit is how much more you could put on the credit card if you wanted to. Your credit line, that's more vocab you needed to know. That's your maximum. Now, it's rand 7174 is a very random number. That's just because I created a formula and it just like randomized numbers here. But that is the most they could put on the credit card. And this is how much they currently have on the credit card. So the difference between the two is how much more credit they could put on the credit card if they wanted to. It's literally just subtracting those two numbers. If you didn't know that vocab, though, if you didn't know what credit line was, even if you didn't know what balance meant, available credit, you didn't know you need to subtract. So reach out to me if you're still doing problems and you're like, hey, I watched the video, but I'm still just not sure what I'm doing wrong. I'm using the right formula, but it's not coming out. Let me know, and I can help you out pretty quickly.